new season has arrived. The opener is here. Manchester United versus Arsenal. Game week number one in the Premier League, sir. We are ready to rock. American Red Devils with you. Feeling pumped. We got three solid transfers in. Hopefully a couple more to go. But the season's here, ready or not. Amarin Ball, let's fucking go. Hopefully our striker edges out the Arsenal striker, given that, there was a rumor that he might have ended up in the north side of London. But either way, very, very pumped for the opener this coming weekend. Sir, how are we feeling? Are we ready for it?
If you asked me after the Europa League if I would be excited for this season, the answer would probably be no. But we've done a lot of work. Amram has done a lot of work with the existing lads. I really think that that's the core basis. We saw the system working in preseason. We saw a lot of the players looking a lot better. I want to shout out Dogu, looking like an absolute beast up and down the left wing for Manchester United. And so I'm really excited for us to try to find our feet. The Fiorentina match was a little bit of off the gas. Maybe we didn't want to get injured. Maybe it was more about fitness. But I just feel like there's a lot of pieces. We're not ready for the test of Arsenal just yet, but I don't think they're ready for the test of Old Trafford that's ready to get behind the lads come Sunday.
No, that's one of the advantages of an early season game against a really hard opponent. We know how difficult United's opening run is, those first five games, but one of the advantages is nobody's up to full speed yet. So, like you said, United still putting the plane together, working on the plane while we're midair almost, because we've got three new signings in, all attackers. We basically have a completely brand new front three. And we've seen it in all the preseason games. And Embumo, Cunha, with Bruno and Ahmad still finding their feet in terms of how they like to play together. So that will take even more so with Benjamin Sesko now locked and loaded in place, our new number nine. But hopefully we can come out hot. We can use the momentum and enthusiasm of Old Trafford because I think the fans are going to be up for it. They're excited the same way the American Red Devils are excited because we've seen some real moves from Ineos this summer, some encouraging moves. The window ain't done yet. We got to finish strong, but at the same time, like you said, the fitness levels are higher. I think the passing's been sharper. Fiorentina was definitely a drop off, but we can excuse that. And now it's all about Sunday. All eyes on that opener. Let's go out there. Let's punch them in the fucking mouth early. Let's get a goal early and play to win. Yeah, we were there last year. We didn't show up until the second half, and then United did show up. But let's show up from minute one and try and say, hey, Manchester United's back, baby. We're not going to win the league this year, but we're going to be a pain in the
Whoa,
ass
whoa,
to
whoa, whoa.
play.
We're not winning the league. We're not winning
Let's
the
get
league.
Baleba.
This
Maybe we
is
get Baleba.
United. Come on. Look,
Donnarumma.
we were going easy on Fiorentina because we didn't want to upset De Gea on his return. That's my excuse there. We're kind of just going easy. Hey, Dave, he's a great guy, legend of the club. Won our last league, if you will, and we don't want to pepper him in front of net. But real quick, before we get into the Arsenal preview, we're going to touch on the Fiorentina friendly, the last one at Old Trafford. We're going to then deep dive into the Arsenal game, make our match predictions, make our season predictions, and then we're going to get into the transfers because there's still a lot of work to do for Ineos, and hit you with fan questions on the other side. So jumping in to the Fiorentina friendly, United won, Fiorentina won. We actually won it on penalties. I don't know why you have penalties in these friendlies. You don't have penalties regular season, but for the friendlies, they like to have them. What'd you make of the game? Any highlights from your end as far as how United were setting up?
It wasn't great, to be fair. I think there was like a steady progress throughout preseason in terms of game by game getting a little bit better. This was a little bit of a step back. I thought the passing was scratchy. I thought Fiorentina were really fouling it a lot and not getting a lot of calls, but then it didn't go so much the other way. But encouraging wise, I thought Dogu, like you said, he's probably the player of preseason. He looked super dangerous. The link up between Diallo and Bumo, Bruno and Cunha is still finding his feet, but that is an area of real promise that you can get excited about. And I think Euro has also had a really solid outing this summer in advance of the next season. What a miss he had last year with that broken foot, missing preseason. So I think that was a giant benefit. Negative side, that sixth spot, man, you could see why United is prioritizing that as the next target to go after because Casemiro ain't it, and Ugarte, not consistent enough certainly to do it after his last outing, looking all over the place. So, real areas of concern, real areas of encouragement, but at the same time, it wasn't a vintage performance. It wasn't a great watch, to be fair. It was pretty scrappy, but De Gea had a great save. United did have some dangerous opportunities from corners. I thought we put some really good balls in, especially from Embumo. But yeah, we couldn't get it past old Spanish Dave. He looked in fine form. And I was glad to see he got a proper send off at Old Trafford. A few years too late, but better late than never.
Yeah, and look what it meant to Spanish Dave. Big fan of Spanish Dave on the podcast. He ever wants to come on. I'm gonna get Alex. Alex was a big get Dave out guy. I'm bringing Dave on the
Bring him
pod.
back.
He's gonna say,
Bring him
"Oh,
back.
come on,"
Bring
but
him
no
back.
interview with Alex.
That was
Alex guy's
wrong.
gotta go. The one highlight, we did create the XG, 1.91 XG to Fiorentina's zero point 0.9. So I think at the end of the day, we were creating the chances. And what I saw out of Bruno, Cunha, and the attack was we were getting to the touchline and putting dangerous balls in. You saw Bruno almost hook Cunha up with an amazing opportunity and goal. Dogu was getting to the touchline. So at the end of the day, I feel like United did do well, but it wasn't really there for the squad.
And I think you're seeing once again the necessity for a tall target man to be in the box. This game was like, where's Sheshko at? We need someone that could be at the end of those crosses, that could be bullying center backs in the box at the far post. And there were some really dangerous balls in. It's just that with Mount kind of switching around with Cunha and Bumo, you don't have that size that I think we're going to benefit from. Like fucking Højlund didn't know how to use his size. I think Sheshko will be able have got that like thunder and lightning. He's really fast, but I think he's super effective in the air, and given the amount of like chip and cross balls that are gonna be at far post, I just think it's a great opportunity for United to have someone who's great in the air, and that's where Sheshko like you really needed him today. I mean, the things that we've been focused on, a number six and a striker, they were calling out today in the game versus Fiorentina.
Yeah, and obviously we talked about already, but we had big Spanish Dave. He's big, he's brave, he's Spanish Dave. Makes great saves, never shaves, sir, flying through the air. Come and have a shot if you dare. Great, pre-match moment. Look what it meant to him to come back, and what an amazing fan base and support. Because we do have to mention that he got the rug on the contract, which I believe you supported at the time. Should have been a year extension at lower wages, but I got the De Gea kit in the bunker. I didn't wear it here on vacation, but it was a great moment for United, and hopefully we can bring this good vibes. I feel like we got good vibes this offseason, and we're heading into the Arsenal match. Let's jump into the Arsenal match. So that's why we're here. We're talking Manchester United versus Arsenal. We're playing for keeps. Sunday, August 17th, 8:30 a.m. Pacific. What a kickoff. This is the featured match. All featured matches, prime time, feature Manchester United. We still got it. The players still want to come here. And oh, by the way they schedule these fixtures from a TV perspective, it's all United all the time. No team has the pull that Manchester United, if you're watching in the United States, catch it on Peacock, sir. That's how you're going to watch this game.
Game will be on NBC and Peacock, so be aware. And like you said, John, the fixtures have been set, I think, for the next, 6 weeks. And United is basically in a primo spot every single time. So that's great for American fans. I think some of the English fans don't like it so much. But like you said, Manchester United showing their pull once again. I think they've shown that in the transfer market. And hopefully we can show it on Sunday against the Gunners because we can use a result. They're a tough team to break down. We haven't had the best track record against them over the last few years. And we'll get into that in a second. But big match, and I want to piss off Arteta from game week 1.
Sir, let's get into the weather. What do we got here? You're good at translating the Celsius into the freedom degrees. What do we got?
Freedom degrees, Royale with cheese. It is early, right? So we're still a week out. The weather could change a little bit, but right now we're showing low 70s. And there was a chance of rain. It looks like it's cleared up in your forecast. So it should be a lovely day, a little warm, but a lovely day of football regardless.
Yeah, rain in the morning. It could be a little wet in the morning, so like moisture, humidity, hot day. It's a perfect day. Sunny day, Old Trafford, which you don't see very often, but early and late in the season you get them, which is great. Sort of a little history about the Gunners.
Let's go through it. Founded in 1886 by munitions workers at the Royal Arsenal in Woolwich, as Dial Square, the club swiftly became Royal Arsenal, ultimately entering the Football League in 1893 as Woolwich Arsenal. They enjoyed a decade of dominance and a golden era in the 30s, multiple league titles and FA Cups, and obviously their other notable period was the late 90s and early 2000s under Arsene Wenger. And they remained the only team in the modern era to compete in an entire unbeaten Premier League season in 2003, 2004.
The Invincibles, sir. You don't get a trophy for that, but that's pretty cool. But they've been bragging about that for too long. They need a title.
They've been bragging about that for too long, and they can't brag about this, sir. European honors, but still chasing the big one. They have two UEFA titles, the Intercity Fairs Cup and the Cup Winners' Cup, but they've never won the Champions League. And that is what has eluded them for so many years. And obviously, talking about near misses, last season's near miss, second again. Arsenal finished second in the Premier League for 3 consecutive seasons, but they did have a big achievement reaching the semifinals, surprisingly, last year in the Champions League.
And they brought in a lot of signings here. We got going through it on transfer market: Zubamendi, Yorkeresh, Madueke, defensive midfielder, Norgard from Brentford. I'm not as familiar with Mosquera from Valencia, Kepa from Chelsea, and then you kind of get down into like the bits and bobs, the cheap or or the loanees that came back for Arsenal. But the highlight has to be for me the Zubamendi, Yorkeresh, and Madueke. Not quite the signings to go for the title, but just enough. This is kind of what United might do. It's like just enough, but probably not going to get you there.
You would think. I mean, like,
It's not enough.
they have
That's
quite a
not
good.
enough.
It's probably not. Let's think about it. At the end of the day, they've been crying out for a number nine. They've been crying out for a target man. Someone who's. I mean, they've had fucking Kai Havertz as their striker. Jesus, we know he's not gonna. He doesn't have what it takes. Midfield's been excellent with Declan Rice. They've probably one of the best center back pairings in the league. But Zubamendi offers steel. Norgard offers experience. Yorkeresh should offer goals. We'll see about that. He scored his first goal in preseason. And Madueke, I don't know, sir. He's a Chelsea reject.
No, very good though. I mean, he like
Talented player. So like they should
yeah,
have what
no,
they think.
he
I also really rate Mosquera as a top player, and they got a great fee, 12 million pounds. He's not as well known in these neck of the woods, but like he's a very, very good player, high prospect. I think if we didn't pick up Heaven in January, he'd be a great player to go for another center back, but we're pretty safe there. But they've shown good recruitment, I must say. But Yorkeresh is the big bet, right? It's like they were going for Sesko, they're going for Yorkeresh, they ended up with the Swede. Let's see if that's the right decision. We might know as early as Sunday.
but this to me is more of a you look at the Scouts bastards and that's hey, we're if especially if they get Isak, like that's a win the league. Like we're putting down a marker. Arsenal did what they should have done last year. They should be doubling up this year. I just feel like Cronky Sports behind Arteta, this is like, all right, we'll give you a striker, see what you can do, but most likely he's going to be exposed and get the axe. That's kind of what it feels like to me. Like they gave him the striker. They wouldn't go, and importantly, they didn't go all the way for Sesko. Right. Originally, they were quoted a lot more for Sesko. They balked at it. They went for Yorkeresh. Who knows who got the better striker in this deal? But I do feel like it's very ironic that they were in for both. They picked one, the other one came to United, and then we're playing them in the first game of the season with too much on the line for each of these teams.
100%. And it's funny because it's like they should have already had a striker like Gyökeres at Arsenal last year. They should be signing their second striker, but you're right. They're just doing just enough
That's what
to
United does.
give Arteta one more go, right? It's his seventh year at Arsenal. They're still seeking their first Premier League crown since 2004. He's only won one piece of silverware, the FA Cup, since being there. We're talking, of course, about the hothead, the 43-year-old Basque coach, born in San Sebastian, obviously a midfielder, played for Barcelona B. Make that clear, Barcelona B, PSG, Rangers, Everton, and Arsenal before retiring in 2016. Pep's second-hand man, and then joined Arsenal in 2019. Talking about tactics, sir, he likes a structured 4-3-3 with the fluidity, which means a controlled possession, overlapping fullbacks, and dynamic inside forwards. Big on the balance and aggression, right? He likes to combine defensive solidity with a rapid, well-timed transitions. And lastly, we know about marginal gains mindset. Everyone laughed at him when it was all or nothing, just seeing
Light
the
bulb.
madness of the light bulb. But they're also very renowned and worth noting is that remember we saw last season, the last couple seasons, inventive set piece routines. They have the specialist Nicholas Jovar. They've scored like the most goals of set pieces and corners of anyone in the league over the last couple seasons. They're super dangerous in the box. This is United. We're a little vulnerable now. We don't have as much size as we have in the past, and this is where they're going to look to exploit United. If you remember last season's game, they were like pushing for corners because that were their best opportunities to get a goal at us at Old.
Yeah, and we felt small against Everton. And they had their Gabriel. They have the big center backs who are involved in the mix and scoring. Looking at the lifetime fixtures versus Arsenal, We won 102, drawn 51, lost 90. It's tight, but United always have the edge. We got the history, sir. It's just a little bit of a rough patch. First time we played them, October 1894, Newton Heath versus Woolwich Arsenal. We drew 3-3. Something tells me we might get a draw. Last 5 versus the Gunners, lost 3. 1-1, drawn 1. The last game being that 1-1 at Old Trafford that we were there in the Stretty cheering on the lads, which was a great match. It felt like a win inside the stadium. It felt like Old Trafford woke up, tale of two halves. First half, everyone was screaming at Onana. Second half, it felt like the Old Trafford woke up. That was a little bit of the spark that took us to the Europa League final. I think we're going to have that spark from the jump. And it's about the team and Amram capitalizing on that, because we can't come out wet noodle. That Fiorentina performance lacked the juice, but it's preseason. We got to have the juice. I need lads leaving a mark. I need us going for broke. We got to win this game. It's really important, I think, for Amram to win this game, give him a little bit of space, sir.
It would buy him so much goodwill heading into the season. If he was even get a draw or a gritty win, like you said, we need them to come out like they came out in the second half in this fixture last season, right? It was night and day. First half we were like wet noodle. Then Bruno scores that free kick at the end of the first half, and United just said, "Hey man, we can fucking play against this team, and we need to show that we're not afraid of nobody and go out there and look to take it to them. We have Embumo, we got Cunha, we got Bruno, we got great defenders. We have to just go for it." And like you said, we can't come out soft because they'll come in and they'll fucking score goals and kill us before we even get a chance. So I think coming out hot is very, very important from minute one. Set the tone and get Old Trafford on your side. I think we saw that too. Is like the impact that you can have by having the fans on your side early to kind of like stifle the opposition and rev up the home team is massive. And that only happens by like hitting the gates hot from minute one.
Yeah, and if you want to check out some of that atmosphere, if you go to our YouTube page, there's actually a vlog playlist, and when you can actually watch the Arsenal game, we're in the Stretty when Bruno scores that amazing goal, and there's nothing like it. It's such a special moment when you're in Old Trafford and it wakes up. We've been there. Obviously, the last couple of seasons haven't been great, but I feel like it's like the 12th man, as cheesy as it is to say. When you can get Old Trafford in behind you, there's nothing like it, and to be a part of that atmosphere is incredible. And I'll never forget that game against Arsenal. As a 1-1 draw. You might look at it on the score sheet and be like, whatever, but the contrast between the start of the game to when we got in it, and then the roar of Old Trafford when people, and then the players start feeding off of that. They start going in, they start being aggressive, and that combination of that energy in that place is incredible and something I'll never forget and always cherish, sir.
Sir, win the crowd, bro. When they say in Gladiator, win the crowd.
Exactly.
It's like get the crowd on your side. And yeah, that 12th man line is true, but it's like it pushes United side to work harder, and I think it shakes opposition. This isn't fucking vintage Real Madrid. It's like Arsenal are rattlable. You can get them, you can get them rattled. That's what I'm saying. So the noise of Old Trafford not only helps you, it also rattles the opposition. So let's get into that starting 11 from Arsenal that we saw in the Villarreal game that they
Yeah.
lost.
Yeah, so they recently lost their last preseason friendly. They played the 4-3-3 with Raya and net. The back line. Gabriel is out injury. You had Ben White, Saliba, Kirwar, Lewis Skelly. Then the midfield, Marino, Norgard, Nawari, Saka, Yorkeresh, and Martinelli up front. Not the best Arsenal side. There will be changes when they play United Old Trafford, but it really comes down to, is Yorkeresh going to hit 4 or is he going to flop? That's what it is. This game for United is don't let him score. Don't let him do that hand gesture at Old Trafford. We don't want to be seeing anything like this.
Don't concede early. Don't concede early. Hold the line, and that's important because we also seen that a lot over the last couple of seasons. United get clipped early, first 10 minutes, and you lose all your momentum. Heads hang. You can't have that. You got to come out of the gate super hot, get at them, fucking press, and see if we can get an early goal. But like you said, most people that don't concede an early goal, you're correct. I can't be saying this, bro. Let's save that for a different game because that's the last thing I want to see.
Referee of the match, Anthony Taylor. He actually ref the last match against Arsenal, the 1-1 draw we just discussed. He gave Bruno an extra, 2 yards on the free kick, which led to the
Appreciate
goal.
you.
Arteta had like a meltdown. Remember, they were kind of in a title race, not really. He had a meltdown about the referee. So, despite him having a very poor track record against United or reffing for United, I don't believe he's ever given a red card to an opponent against Manchester United, despite reffing like an insane amount of games. He did give us a little bit of a dub. So Anthony Taylor, as much as we don't rate him, he gave us one to the good with that free kick wall. So maybe he can hook it up again. But regardless, he's going to be up to shenanigans. Sir, he likes to award penalties. Let's hope that we don't have a pen call. Let's hope no VAR muppetry is going on at Old Trafford on Sunday.
It's also, John, we've seen this, right? It's like every year the way that the ref association handles games kind of adjusts. So we're also going to see, like, are they going to call more fouls? Are they going to call less fouls? How much does VAR intervene? So it's kind of like a whole new, like, what are they going to do this year? At least in the last 5, 6 years, they've always made little changes in terms of like how much they lean in,
They
lean
added
out.
time last year.
No,
They always have like an
so
agenda, and then it always
exactly.
fades away, and then they're really making changes behind the scenes. But the real changes are the ones they don't talk about. Where like one week handball's this, next week it's that. They completely change it. They shut it
Right, right.
down. They're a little all over the place, but like I said, it takes about 10 years for replay to be effective. Like we saw in the NFL, it was like replay hurt the game for about a decade. Now, no one asks questions that actually helps the game. And the way they do that is having the facility centrally, which I believe they made the change in England, and then just having the repetition of like, what do you really want to get involved in? And handball will always be horrific for VAR. United's 11, we saw this against Fiorentina, sir. Bayindir, Euro, Maguire, Heaven back line, Diallo right wing back, Casemiro, Bruno midfield. That didn't look that great. Dogu left wing back, Embumo, Mount, Cunha up front. What do you make of this 11? I didn't really rate it against Fiorentina. It showed you the weakness. It is the midfield for United. We really cannot expect like a new Manchester United until we can get a midfield signing in, a top tier. Come on, I'm a Baleba. Got to get him in here. But before we get into the transfer news, this 11, Arsenal are also wet noodle FC, so they haven't come into Old Trafford. They should have been stomping us. We were there for the taking. There's an element where Arsenal doesn't really take advantage of these opportunities, so we more need to frustrate them and look for our chances on the other side. So probably quite a bit of changes for Ruben Amorim here.
You would think. I mean, I think the back three is likely the back three you're going to see. I think same with the wing backs. They'll probably stick
What about
in.
Shaw? Shaw.
I don't think Shaw will feature. I think he's gonna go with Heaven and Euro. Heaven was really effective, right? It's his former teammates against Arsenal. I think he'll play him again. I just think the reason that he played his back three a week before our first game is like that's the back three. In my mind, I could be wrong. We'll find out, but I would imagine that's the back five with Diallo and Dogu. He might do this because Šeško's not ready to start. Højlund's out. He might put Bruno in Mount's spot and then play Ugarte and Casemiro, which doesn't really work well, but just double
No,
steal.
Ugarte played himself out of position
What do
with
you
that
got? What are you
performance.
thinking?
Ugarte played horrible against Everton.
He did.
He played bad in the Europa League final, gave it away. They gave it away against Everton. Like you can't play the six who's giving away goals. Like that's just you're done. He's cooked. He had to prove in preseason, and I don't want to see Casemiro out there either. But this is why we're like literally like red alert for the midfield. It's going to be Casemiro, Bruno midfield. The real question is Diallo, and I think he's going to go with Delo. I think he's going to go with Shaw. I think you have Shaw the
Really?
experience. You got to be thinking defensively against Arsenal, and it didn't look great against Fiorentina. And then you're going to get Šeško. Šeško's going to get his start.
Start.
Absolutely. You got it. Like that's a Fergie, you're ready, go. Like you're the man. Here it is. It's the fixture. Šeško, Gyökeres, Arsenal, United. You gotta play him. He's healthy. He's fit. Like look
He
at
looks
the kid.
fucking
He's just
fit.
like a
He looks,
freak.
looks like he has no problem
You're
getting
gonna
fit.
get Bayindir chops in net. I think it's gonna be Euro Maguire, Shaw, Delo, Cas Bruno, Dogu, and you're gonna get Cunha, Embumo, Šeško up front. I think that's pretty close to what you're gonna see from Manchester United.
Questions. It's all the midfield. You get like Baleba that answers a lot of questions, and I think, like you said, Ugarte probably cemented the need for the front office to go after the top position in that category. So we'll see. You put some interesting things out there. Šeško should get the start, like you said. Sorry, it's like he got in earlier than I thought he would get in. He was training as of over the weekend. So big one to watch. I have no idea how it's going to play out. I'm very, very excited. Looking forward to the game. But a lot of questions around which 11. And Onana, you're likely going to see a net too. Behind here. Ain't Chops ain't starting.
I'll tell you this. If you watch United over the past couple of seasons, you'll know that the midfield will be exposed and we will purchase Baleba.
Yeah,
Like this is
perfect.
always the signing. It's like the Anthony panic. There's always like the one signing, the one key that they leave late. We get just gazumped live. It's exposed live. Like you watched against Fiorentina. You saw it against Everton. You saw it against Fiorentina. We're struggling with the midfield. You got to have a guy who can basically run that thing, who's elite, because you're looking at playing Bruno down there to get all these attackers in. And at the end of the day, like Ugarte was the guy. You know he's not the guy. I think there's a player there. He needs more time. He's not ready now. Casemiro doesn't have the juice right now. If you look at this team, you're like, you got a Ferrari, sir. You're missing like a key component of the engine, and it's like you can't be driving this car. It looks good, but it doesn't run good. And then I feel like you need the midfield to be running for Manchester United to be successful. Sir, what do we got on the bookie side? What are the odds here?
So the odds are tighter than you would have thought. The odds are certainly tighter than they were when Alex and John went over to see Manchester United play Arsenal last season. Plus 230 for United at home, plus 250 for the draw, and plus 110 for the Gunners, sir. I think you go up first. You won last year. Score prediction game. Check it out. Look what John put together. What a fucking guy. Sir, tell him about it. Tell him about it. It looks amazing.
All right, so because we had so much fun with the score prediction game live on the podcast last season, we wanted to find a way for the fans to get involved. So all you have to do to get involved in the score prediction game is go over to MUFCpredict.com, sign up with your email, come up with a cheeky username that will be on the leaderboard, and you can compete directly with us in our score predictions that are tracked over the season. Also, the cool feature of this is when you make a prediction, it tells us what the fan community is predicting for the Arsenal match. So get over to MUFCpredict.com, log in, make your prediction, sign up, sir. Right now, the community has this down as a draw. It's equal percentage win, 42% call for the win, 42% calling for the loss, 17% predict the draw. But because there's a balance there, the community says it's a draw. As far as the average goals predicted per team, Arsenal 1.8 to Manchester United's 1.4. It couldn't be more even than how the fans have. We need more Muppets. If you're a Muppet and you think we're going to win and smash Arsenal, come on. We need the Muppet takeout here on the prediction game. What do we got, sir?
Looks slick, bro. It's great to see that you can see where the fans are moving. You can see the aggregate score, average score across each team. It's very well done. You want to go first? You want me to go first? I mean, it's already in the system.
No, but
We
why do
worked
you
it.
think the fans are cagey on this one as the draw? I'm very surprised. I thought I created a website for the fans. I thought it'd be 100% win rate for Manchester United. I'm very surprised anyone's predicting a loss. I'm very surprised.
You know why? You know why? Because now there's a public record. You just can't make a prediction into vapor. It's like there's a record of how well you do. So there you go. I think that's why
And you can compete with us. So
as Muppety.
the thing is, you compete with us directly. So we have 0% accuracy right now. We're going to pick live here. It's the Arsenal match. Alex, you are first because I set up this whole application on the internet with the help of AI. So Alex, Alex just cheers me from the sidelines. Sir, give me your score. Hopefully it works. We're doing this live.
We'll do a fucking live, baby. John, what an effort, sir. Shout out to John. What a guy. I'm calling Muppet Take. Let's go. You here for the Muppet? You're here for the Muppet Take?
Yes.
Give me the Muppet Take. 2-1 Manchester United against fucking Arsenal. Get that fucking 2 down. That's our 2. Sheshko with the winner. Embumo with the first one. I think Declan Rice scores their goal. You're correct, actually, they'll probably score their goal, but that's what I'm calling. Sir, what do you got? Come on, bring me down to earth, brother.
2-1. I mean, that you took it from me.
I already put mine in, sir.
No, I can predict. This year we can predict the same thing. But,
Okay.
I'm going to go with 2-0. Maybe I'm going to, I'm just going to go with, I don't know.
No. You got it.
Electric chair, 2-0. John's predictions are in. Look, we're having fun with the prediction game. If you have an issue with it, because I literally used AI to code it, please just shoot us an email, americaredoubles@gmail.com. we're gonna iron out the kinks. But this is a great game and one we wanted to get all the listeners of the podcast involved in. Sir, any notes on the Arsenal match? Anything else? Like any straws you're pulling? Any juju? Are you doing anything? Are you ready for this game mentally? Because this is just so much on the line. What does your gut tell you? You say we're gonna win.
I mean, I'm saying we're gonna win because I'm full Muppet. I think we got every chance to win. I think the fact that it's early seasons actually plays into our hand because they're not going to be up and running. They've got new players that are being fit in. So are we. The six is still a big problem, but I think we need to start seeing some Amara magic. I think the pressing, the work rate, the fitness is much higher, at least than we saw in large parts of last season. Hopefully, that's what edges us. What are your thoughts for the season overall, sir? Are we doing that today or are we moving on?
No, we're doing the season. Before we jump into the transfer, we're going to get into the season prediction. Also, one note on the prediction game: you get 3 points for the correct result. You get 10 for the correct score and result. So that's how we're scoring it at MUFCpredict.com. Just my personal prediction on where Manchester United are going to come out in the league, sir. I had a long think about this one. We will finish 8th in the league. Significant improvement. We will win no silverware, but Amram will be cemented as the man at Old Trafford. He will rule that locker room. The bluffers will be banished to the hills, and Amram will be the man to set us straight over the long term. He will not be dispatched despite this rough start to this season. So I'm going 8th place, no silverware. Sesko, is going to get probably, I'm going to say 12 EPL goals. So the attack will be better by the margin we need to finish in 8th place.
Yeah, I've kind of oscillated back and forth about my predictions. I think like I was really doom and gloom, and then much more encouraged when we got Embumo and Sesko over the line. So I was at ninth before Sheshko. Now with Sheshko, I'm calling seventh. And I think if you get Baleba, we could be as good as fifth. I think he
Yeah,
is
I would say Baleba is 5th.
yeah, if he's a game changer player, he is an elite, at least has the potential to be an elite number six. He's like once again, Euro. We'll talk about that in a second, sir. But I'm going to have myself. I'm calling seventh and like a EFL Cup or FA Cup. I think we're going to win a trophy.
Just throw it out there. Which one?
I think FA Cup. We're
FA
going to
Cup.
FA Cup. Get
FA
back
Cup.
into Europe that way. Maybe finish seventh, a little higher if we get the killer CDM from Brighton. That's my
You
prediction.
you heard it here. 7th FA Cup, first trophy for Ruben Amram. We are both calling Amram to make it the length of the season. All right, let's get into United in the news. We had the full Sesko announcement. Signs for United, looking good in red. Still don't know about the rose tattoo on the neck there. I've been watching some interviews with him at Leipzig. If you go on YouTube, there's tons of behind-the-scenes interviews with Sesko. Seems, a bit of an awkward lad, but nice guy. Like, if you look at the apartment he lives in Leipzig, this kid is pretty modest compared to where he's stepping up to United. So it's good to see. Seems like he's all business, Amram's not going to have to worry about him. He knows what this opportunity means. I have a feeling Sesko is going to do well, but we have to. My gut tells me he's not going to hit the 20 in the league that we need. It would be a huge win if we get 20 all comps, considering, we're not a lot of competitions. Without Europe, it's really realistically, he maybe hit 15 all comps. But next year is when you should see him hit his stride. So it's really the season before he breaks out right now is my expectation. So everyone should just probably relax a little on he's going to change the game. If he does, it's amazing. But right now I'm sort of feeling, this is the season before he starts hitting the RVP levels of goals for United.
He reminds me of Zlatan, actually. No, but absolutely, sir. I think he's 22. Let's get into the nitty gritty. 22-year-old Slovenian, 6'5", of course, signed a 5-year deal. Contract signing fee was 66.3 plus 7.4, so 73.7 million pounds, right around the Rasmus Højlund deal, which is crazy. And over the past 2 seasons, Šeško has scored the most goals of any player under the age of 23 in Europe's top 5 leagues. Like you mentioned, he scored 21 goals and registered 6 assists for RB Leipzig in the last season across all comps. 41 caps, 16 goals for Slovenia, becoming the country's youngest ever debutant in 2021. And I think he's going to take some time too. And I think that's why, I was definitely leaning Watkins at certain times, but 60 versus 74 for a 22-year-old versus a 30-year-old, this is definitely the deal to make. He's just going to need a little more time, but I think Embumo Cunha takes some of the pressure off. So I think low to mid teens EPL, maybe high teens all comps, like every a goal every other game. I think he's good for that and can only get better. So I'm super excited about this signing. I like how United got it done. He only wanted Manchester United. He's been a Manchester United fan since he was 9 years old. So once again, they followed the same playbook as they did for Cunha and Embumo. They found players that want to play for United first and foremost. Champions League is a bonus. You lock them up, get them all in on United. If somebody else can agree a transfer fee that's not United, even better. And then we kind of come in and say, hey, he wants us. And it worked again. So Vivelli got this one right. This is a player he's known for a long time since he was actually at the RB setup. I'm glad we got him in. He follows the Euro model. Find the best up and comer in his position under 23s, and this is Benjamin Sesko. So I'm fucking pumped. A player of the future. Ineos are looking ahead. And I couldn't be happier, sir. I don't love the tattoo, but you know what? Like, he seems a good kid, and I can't wait to see him on the pitch.
Yeah, but I mean, if your boy came up with you with like a rose neck tattoo, hey,
What would you say, bro?
it's got to be a good story.
Really
It's got to have a good story. He's got to have a good story about that thing. I'm sure he does. But at the end of the day, United have an elite target man, one that should have been nowhere near, and that's ultimately where United fans where we were in the mud. We were in the mud, 15th, lost to Tottenham, no Champions League football, and we're getting the top striking prospect in Europe. This is why United has the amazing pull. That's why there's the buzz around the fan base. That's why there's the good vibes. Now, I'm just trying to tell everyone, we've seen this movie before. If you think about the ownership and these deals that they're doing, yes, they're getting younger, but this is the same playbook from the Glazers. There's a reason why Ashworth was fired. He wants to do it low and slow. Sign young players, maybe like Baleba, before paying $100 million for him. United's going back to the big ticket, red meat, get the fans on side, fired up, sir. We're eating it. We're all fired up. We're just eating it again. How many times have we been here? It's the same playbook. Big money splash gets the fans excited. We only have 3 players. We probably need 7. Ashworth would sign 7 players, each for 30 to 50 million, maybe even younger, and let them grow over time at Manchester United. We're going high for the signings like Sesko, so he has to score 20 goals in 2 or 3 years, otherwise it's a bust. It's the same playbook we did with Højlund, although he's a different player than Højlund. I actually rate Sesko. He's the number one. I haven't rated a signing Manchester United has done since they brought Ronaldo back. I haven't rated one of them. Other than Mason Mount, who's been injured, but I still think he's a player. This is the Mount and Sesko are the 2 that I actually like since Ronaldo came back. Every single one I've just been a little puzzled by ultimately. Obviously, we had the Erik ten Hag signings. So this is a good one, but I'm also a little concerned. We kind of went red meat, splash the cash. Not a lot of Dogus in there, which I feel like that's more. We need the splash the cash plus the Dogus, sir. I need a young midfielder with a lot of energy. I need a young, promising goalkeeper. I just feel like if you just go all cash splash like Sesko's, you need to have it. It's an and, not an or. And I feel like we're missing a big component of this window where we need to get younger and hungrier.
Well, I think there is something to be said that Ineos are definitely a different breed than the Glazers and the Murtaugh Woodward crew. Like, they're better around their recruitment without a doubt. But I think they work best when they have the complements of big ticket signing, like a Sheshko, fucking top prospect in European football for his position in the under 23 age group. And at the same time, you complement that with like a fucking Dogu, who's like a diamond in the rough, 20 million pound deal, who's like all physicality and pace and could become an elite wingback. Heaven, $1 million deal, like he already looks a player. Already
No,
looks
I
like some of the players that play. So
the
I
the
think
million pound
it's
deals
also
are great.
like old United would just sign Sheshko. We would not have signed Embumo and Kuni. We would have just signed this fucking 22-year-old and be like, good luck. Once again, I think the pressure is taken off him a
No,
little
they
bit.
pivoted. Ineos pivoted, dude. The Sheshko signing, they changed. Once you get a taste for the big money red meat and the fans screaming in it, like Jim got a taste and he's
Fancy.
going all in. That's what I'm saying. Like, there's something about this where it's like, let's not remember they laid 200 people off. What, 5 months ago? And we're like, we don't have any money, and then they just blow all this cat, and it's like these signings have to work.
Have to.
Have to.
No, they're
work.
pushing for top 4. They want to go back to Europe. They're like, if they
Yes,
go
exactly.
Baleba,
Yes,
they're
they
like,
have to
we're
get back
like,
into
we
Europe.
have to get back in the top four. That's
Yes.
what this is. This is all about getting back into Europe. It's like we're gonna do everything we need to do to get back into Europe because otherwise we're fucked.
No, I'm positive about it, but there's a part of me that just kind of like, are we just doing the same strat as like the big money red meat, which I love. There's nothing better than like throwing red meat to the plebeians high in the stance, sir. But I'm also like a little nervy because if you look at this team from how we're made up, striker was important, but I think the midfield coming off of last season, Ugarte firing a little bit of a blank there, that's why the next signing is like so critical, is that we need to be thinking about getting in Baleba, sir. And like, let's talk about it. We have Baleba, Romano, quote, Manchester United speaking again today with the agents of Carlos Baleba. It's about the contract and the salary. United want to advance on the player side and see what happens with Brighton. Manchester United want to try. I feel like there's a lot of words that we need to break down in that quote from Romano. It does feel like we're going player first, like we did with Sesko, then trying to work and play with Brighton. To me, this signing is so huge for United. It could be the difference between European football and not. If you look at what we have, it realistically is probably not enough to get back into Europe. You need this kid. Watch some tape on him. He's just an absolute beast. United, this kid does things in the midfield, sir, that just scare you. Scare you.
Sir, he's the number one CDM prospect, not even in England, in world football. Like this kid is been talked about for years and years. He was the replacement that Brighton signed for Moise Caicedo when he went to Chelsea in the first place. 21-year-old, unbelievable ceiling, dynamic midfielder. He can tackle, he can pass, he can carry the ball. He would be an unlock for Manchester United, and they are following an encouraging plan, which is like Ornstein says, hey, we're interested. The player is very keen. He knows Onana. He played with Lenny Euro at Lille. This kid, like I said, they did it with Euro, they did it with Sheshko. He's the same thing. Find the single best prospect under 23 for this position and go sign him. This is going to be the highest fee yet. We're hearing £100 million. But given how valuable that position is in this formation that we play under Ruben Amorim, or any form, even if you play a 4-2-3-1, you need a killer CDM to pull the strings like Roger does and has won in the league time and time again. So if we can get this over the line, that would be an insane window, and I think really could push United, maybe not to fourth, but fifth. And if fifth's enough now to be in Champions League football, given how good English football is, that might be worth it. Especially if they can get a structured deal, £80 million. If you can get like an £80 million deal, he's apparently on an insanely low salary. He's on like 15K a week. That's another way United could turn their head, say, hey, he doesn't want to sign a new deal. Apparently, he's very keen on United. So one to watch. But the fact that they've even been open with it with tier one sources, forget Romano, real tier ones, is encouraging because I don't think they'd be doing it. They didn't like the
But
same
it's
thing with
floater
the
though. It's not. It's a little bit of like a hey, we're gonna see type of thing, and it's like what are we at 70 or 80, and Brighton's at 100. But then you have to make up the gap with the new deal, right? Because if Baleba says, hey, I want more money, then they have to pay that. So there's a little bit of a gap there. It would come down to what would be some add-ons as well as, are Brighton willing to sell him now? United, I'll tell you what, speaking of red meat, we need this red meat, sir, because I love red meat, and this guy owes me a steak from that last prediction game. Here's the thing.
Yeah, maybe.
Here's the thing. I say that United are doing the red meat strategy, but I love the red meat strategy. Who doesn't love it? Like,
Who doesn't love a
big
steak?
Gazump. You're winning the social media transfer war. You're just laughing at other fans. This is like what we love about United. But the reason why we got to get this deal done in now is because other teams are coming. They're not in the window now. And this player, it's like we're kind of just robbing. Sir, we're in like Saks Fifth Avenue. We should be at the dollar store, but somehow we're just like robbing the best signings in Europe. And if he's available and it's just us and there's not another team involved, you have to do a deal. You have to get this deal done. And so I think it's opportunistic. It's going to come down to the outgoings, and this what really makes me mad is that Chelsea are going to play games on Garnacho because they know they can string us out to the end of the window and they don't want to help us out and try to get this deal done. But if we could get 50 for Garnacho, I bet you Baleba happens. If we can't get 50 for Garnacho, that's not going to make up the difference in this deal. That's where Ineos is going to struggle. And so I feel like This transaction is related to other factors, most likely the outgoings. And right now, United is not looking good on that front.
No, we'll get into that in a second. It's still dragging, and I think the players are working with the target clubs to kind of know that United's in a tough
It's a
position.
coup.
Yeah, they don't want United to do well. Baleba is the type of player that Chelsea's been signing, like Moise Caicedo, Enzo, like he's right in that profile, 100 million. They wouldn't delay a second signing him for that price, given his high ceiling. Same with Real Madrid. He could be a Rodri replacement in the future. And that's why it's important, like you said. So not a lot of clubs are in from right now, but they will be. They
We
will be in a
have to
year
get
from
him,
now or
dude.
two. You got to get him now because he'll be 125 million next year, or he'll be 150 million next year, right? Or you won't be able to he won't be able to turn down a Real Madrid. So he does like United. Apparently, he's got friends at United, Onana, Embumo, fucking
I would keep
Euro.
Onana if we could get this kid over the line.
Honestly, same.
Like that, like as
That's what I
and
was
I said I
thinking.
was done with Onana, I'd keep him. Sir, quickly we got a comment on Rasmus Højlund, AC Milan loan to buy deal. We're talking that was it €6 million fee up front for the loan, take his wages plus a 40 to 45 million euro. We've seen different reports of the deal to buy Højlund going out the door. This saves a little bit of money on wages. What do you make of this? Do you rate the youngster? Do you want him to stay and compete with Sesko? Having another youngster behind Sesko, does that add more pressure to him? Not a lot of games because of the competitions we're in. So
I would have liked to stay. We're cheap, not cheap, but we money is tight right now. They need to get him off the books. Like you said, we don't have Europe, but like I would have liked to see Højlund behind Sheshko and have like a fucking him cracking the whip because you put two young thoroughbreds together. Wait, yeah, Sheshko's way ahead of Højlund, but that would I think bring out the best in the day. Now that's not happening. I think United very much want to move him off. He wants to fight for his place, but this seems meant to be. But at the same time, I don't understand this deal because it's like 35. I know that's higher than your valuation, but if they end up exercising that, he's worth more than that. Like that means he had a good season in Serie A, and if not, they just don't
I don't
exercise
like
it.
loan to buy because how many
We're
times do
fucked either
these
way. That's what I'm
deals
saying.
work
So I don't
out?
like
They
him
don't
loan to
work out.
buy because if he works out and he's worth 34 million pounds, he's probably worth more than that. If they want to pay for that, that means he had a great season and they could probably foist him back to England in a couple of years for even more. Well,
We take
otherwise, he
all the
doesn't do
risk.
well, and then they just walk away, and we're fucked. So it's like it doesn't make any. This still doesn't make sense to me. But what do you think?
No, we take all the risk and not the upside.
Right,
It's
right. That's what I
like
mean.
this is United's sell side all day. It's like we take all the risk, not the upside. We get screwed. Jaden Sancho, great example. Højlund, great example. If he does well, he's worth more than the fee because look at his age. They get him for cheap. If he doesn't do well, we get the whole bag. But if at the end of the day, if it comes down to wages and saving money for the Baleba deal, you're gonna
I'll
do
take
it.
it. Like I said, run back
I
on down,
don't
bro.
like having another young prospect coming behind Sheska. I don't like that. That's not good. He needs time. He's got to have the backing. You got to clear out. I mean, like there is an element of that where I don't mind Højlund, but you don't go out and buy Shesko if you want him to fight for his spot. You got to develop him. You got to give him all the feels. You got to back him. You got to back him through the droughts. You got to say, hey, you're the man. You got it. Like I just don't feel like having Højlund there is good for business on the mental side of Sesko, sir. Next bit of news here, we're talking Garnacho. Hate to see it, but
Fucker.
if
God
this
damn it.
big Garnacho guy, love him, Viva Garnacho, don't love the off the field antics. Again, I don't know the guy. I can't speak to the drama behind the scenes. He had issues with two managers, doesn't like Amram. You gotta go. That's the way it is. At the end of the day, Ornstein Tier 1, Chelsea have stepped up talks with Manchester United over a deal to sign Alejandro Garnacho. Club's in touch for some time. Now advancing since Sesko joined Manchester United, 21-year-old winger wants Chelsea. Expects moves to happen. Chelsea's doing to us what we did to RB Leipzig. The player wants to go. They have agreed. United are setting a valuation of 50 million. It was 60 in the last winter window. It's come down to 50. 40 plus some change. Give it to me, Chelsea. Give me this money so we can get Baleba in the door.
He'd be good value for that. I wish he didn't go this way, but like this version of fucking Garnacho with the fake teeth and the fucking aggressive eyebrows, he feels like a Chelsea player. He feels like
Yes,
he'd fit
yes.
right in fucking London and that fucking, crackerjack crew of fans and
Crackerjack
etc.
crew.
It's a shame, but for like you said, he's worth 50 million pounds in this market. No, dude, he's a fucking player. He'll do great. He'll smash it at Chelsea and go on to Real Madrid for double that. But if that's what it takes for us to bring in an elite six and unlock this whole fucking puzzle, this whole 11, basically that's the last, other than goalie, that's the last piece in your outfield players that you really need to have. He'd be worth it. Just like get him. But what you said, John, is like you can't have this shit drag until the end of the window, so we have no time to use that money and go get our new number six.
Yeah, I think the United front office has to be more savvy to tell Chelsea if you want him, you got to get him sooner rather than later. United does have leverage here. Like, he's locked up. He's a great young talent. And we are selling him for cheap. So I think United should posture here. It's just the way the tea leaves fall. And when you're doing business, it's business. United need to posture on this deal. We have to posture on price because he is a top prospect. We don't need to get desperate and sell him cheap. 50 million should be the price. You look at Madueke, like Garnacho, look at Garnacho's stats versus Madueke, who just went to Arsenal. It's like there's no way. United need a posture on price. Unfortunately, that means that we will go late in the window, probably get it done. That like going late and posturing on price is advantage United. Unfortunately, it's not advantage United getting Baleba if we are dependent on him to sell, which I believe we have to be at some point because we spent 200 million. Jim said we're broke. Which is absolutely hysterical. Jumping into some fan questions here, sir. It's been a hell of a pod. We got through all the transfer news, preseason recap, season predictions. Let's hear what the fans are saying ahead of kickoff against Arsenal. At 33_63_. The FPL experts are completely disregarding Cunha and Embumo at 8 million and loving Wirtz at 8.5. Does this seem logical to you?
Never been an FPL pro up and down. I think they're probably rating the fact that Wirtz is on a much, has been a much better team, EPL winning team. So they probably give him the edge there.
Well, you came in last in our league last year, so you're the worst FPL manager, and you lost the prediction game to me on the podcast.
That was
close. You know why you lose? Because you only have United. You have as many United players as possible. United just got absolutely.
They all suck.
You're so loyal, sir.
What do you think, sir?
So you got a Muppet heart. Everyone loves you because you're a Muppet heart. Everyone loves you. You're full Muppet. Can't hide it. At Grifter10 Sirs, can't wait for the season to start. Mason Money Mount has looked very good. His pressing is what this team needs. Amram sending a strong message, not playing Rasmus a single minute. Yeah, we have to comment. Great point, Potato. Rasmus didn't play against Fiorentina. That's usually when you're doing a deal. And Sesko wasn't ready. So you think Mount can make an impact this season? I feel like Mount's a great bench player. I think he's going to come off the bench. He's going to start in certain games, but he's not going to be the top dog. But his pressing, his work rate late in games, he also has that finish on him. I just feel like that's where Mount should be. We overpaid for him, but he's a good player.
We overpaid for him. We gave him wages that were probably too high. But that being said, I agree. He's a good player. He's a good personality. He's a good kid. He won't be a starter because he's not better than Bruno and he's not better than Cunha and he's not better than Bumbo. But there are games and we're going to get back in Europe. So we're going to need players that can come in. Also, we lost all these wingers. We're losing Garnacho, Sancho, Rashford, Anthony. It's like you need players that can come in and make an impact. He can do that. He won't be a starter, but I think if he stays fit, he's got a high work rate. He's, like you say, he's a good presser. He fits in really well with the Embumo system. So he's an option, and he's a great option to have. So I'm all about Mason Mount. I want everybody who's here to play a role, and that's why I'm more optimistic than I was because they pushed out all the bluffers, and they're not even allowed to touch the place, and it just feels like the vibes have gotten better. And I know that's just vibes, but Mount's a contributor to that. Like we want good personalities around, and no more fucking bad eggs.
At Ty Kircher, the energy and fitness of the squad looks to be much improved from when Ruben came in last year. Let's hope it stays that way. This is one I think we need to highlight is that a lot of managers have mentioned fitness being a problem. This is the first manager where I actually see the improvement. It was usually like the manager like overselling that we were fit, but like if you actually look at the players, look at Casemiro, like the manager is like, hey, you got to come in on this weight, you got to come in this fitness level, and United have been behind the eight ball. I haven't seen a man like Klopp came in and did that to the Scouse Bastards. Yep. So it's good to see that Amram came in and can at least do that. And I feel like once you can get the players under your thumb in a certain respect and get that core, I feel like Amram's done a good job at that. It's a very intangible. Like, that's not going to matter when Arsenal are playing us at home, but over the length of a season, you should see the improvement there, you know?
And has impact late. I mean, I think fitness really shows in the last quarter of the game, right? The last 15 minutes. That's when it proves that you're a fit team. It also speaks to the discipline. It speaks to the nutrition. It speaks to the fact that the team is just more dialed in about how they're doing and eating the right things and following the protocol. And they're all in on him. And like you said, like we've heard, like, oh, the team is super fit. They haven't looked it. They look fucking fit. And I know it's only preseason, but the boys have looked sharper. The pressing's been better. So I'm encouraged, but like you said, it doesn't matter for shit until we get on the 17th of August, sir, against the fucking Gunners. Let's take it to them, and let's show that we are fit by running them off the pitch for 90 minutes.
Come on, United. At D underscore Cole.
Come on. Full gas.
Full gas. Come on. Actually went and watched an hour of vids on Sesko. Hands up, my bad. Dude looks like a freak. Him and Embumo and Cunha. Boom. Embumo, sir, give me a boom. Are you about to do some serious work? I can't remember the last time the squad looked this fit. Maybe year one of Jose.
Yeah.
Get Donnarumma in. That's an excellent point. We haven't commented on the Donnarumma, that it's just kind of out there in these kind of rag tiers. Like, there's something going on where someone might pick him up for cheap. I think United, that's a keeper. Like, I'm just kind of there's going to be some late magic in this window, I'm hoping. But it hasn't come out really concrete on Donnarumma, so we haven't really gone in just yet on that news.
No, it was one of those where you first thought, like, it's like Emi Martinez, bro. Like, he's fishing for a deal. There's not a lot of appetite from the club. Maybe he's looking for a new deal from his existing club. But then PSG went and signed his replacement. He's in the last year of his contract. Apparently, he is not above winding that shit down to the end and walking. He's a real profile, bro. He's young. He's only 26 for a goalkeeper. He broke onto the scene really young in Italy. He's a fucking cave troll. I know that fits your protocol. Goalie has to have at least a little cave troll, even though I don't think De Gea did. He was too handsome to be a goalie. He had that goat look.
You need a personality. You're right. De Gea was a little softer, but that the save that De Gea
had was elite. He was a fucking cat.
He didn't need it. He didn't need it. But that they let him down in those moments. Like, we know those moments that he had, and those were tough. But to his credit, on the personality side, he stood tall in those tough interviews. A lot of people went hiding. Last one here at Mike United Mets. I can't believe Bayern King of Chops shaved them off. Hysterical. He definitely listens to the podcast. With the signings of Sesko, what are the top 3 footballing nations for loving tattoos? I'm thinking Argentina, Brazil, and Slovenia might be getting a look now. Argentina, number 1.
Number one.
Argentina is studs up bad tattoos. If you had to sum up the footballing nation in one way, it's like they love throwing studs. They love bad tattoos. Just can't get enough of the bad tattoos, Argentina.
100%. They're number one. They're number one on a lot of metrics.
We traveled there. So how long we spent in Argentina? A couple of weeks?
6 weeks, 5-6 weeks.
Yeah,
it's been a
great country.
Great country.
Legendary. Country.
But like you said, they're both like the whingiest footballers, but they're the dirtiest fucking footballers.
I love that. Coming from North Jersey, baby. I feel like North Jersey and Argentina. We have
same but different, bro.
We have a connection. Look, that is it. That is the podcast. Alex and I are both remote on summer vacay with the family. Thank you for tolerating the remote setup. We do our best to get this podcast out. We will be live streaming the Arsenal match on our YouTube channel. Get over to YouTube, hit subscribe, like the channel, tune in for the live Arsenal live Arsenal match stream, and then right after our Arsenal game, we will go live. Make sure to get in the chat, hit the like button, do everything you can to support independent fan content. Alex and I don't have any backers or anything like that in the game. It's just me and him doing it for the love of the game, and that's what it should all be about. If you want to go the extra mile, you can support us on our Patreon page, patreon.com/American Red Devils. Go over there, tons of extra benefits. Please check it out. You can also check out our store, americadevils.store. We also have a great newsletter. You can go over to our website, americadevils.com/newsletter. Sign up. You get an email every week in your inbox of the top Manchester United stories. Also, MUFCpredict.com. Join the prediction game throughout the season. Compete with Alex and myself. It'll be interesting to see how the leaderboard turns out. We're going to be predicting every match like we do on the podcast with a steak dinner on the line. Alex still owes me some red meat from the prior steak dinner. Sir, how are we feeling?
So give me a Baleba. That's like a bone-in. That's like a prime, dry-aged fucking ribeye with a bone in a big boy tomahawk. And I can't wait for this fucking season. Like you said, I'm Lean. I love this club. I'm a fucking Muppet. And they, like you said, I think Jim learned. He's like, fucking feed them, feed the fans, win the crowd, bro.
He
Win
did,
the crowd.
because they sign one, it starts feeling good, and they keep going. I mean,
They keep going.
That's
Like,
definitely
win the
part
crowd,
of
bro.
it.
Win the crowd, and you will have your freedom. It's like, hey, Jim, that's all you got to do is keep them up and fat, dumb, and happy, and we'll leave you alone.
It's been a hell of a podcast, sir. Enjoy the rest of your time at the Jersey Shore. I can't wait to see you in the pod bunker because it's going to be a wild one. I'm going to be proper nervous watching that Arsenal game. It's going to be electric chair stuff. We're going from playing preseason, which is fun, signing big names, just like having a laugh, trolling Newcastle fans. Everything's good, and then all of a sudden, like lock it in, we're playing for keeps. But sir,